So I've been manically researching the question that I've just put up here because I actually don't really understand build as a service myself, or I think I do. So I can give a nice quick introduction to it. But I've heard really it's a model in which you can train people interested in like automation or like integration or like train your customers live on a call together, so that you can avoid all the hassles of like getting credentials to log into apps to build an automation together. They can learn from you and like what the best practice is. So there's benefits for both the automator on the call as well as benefits for the customer on the call. I'm curious if any of you guys have had experience using like build as a service in your businesses, or you've been a customer of a build as a service business.
So this is kind of co-build, right? What you're referring to is like co-building or co-solving is where you get on a Zoom call and you do that with the client, right?
Yes, like my understanding is like client goes to business, has a burning problem, needs some like urgent troubleshooting. Consultant is available, jumps on the call, and together live, they either sort of solve it right then and there if it's a simple sort of automation challenge, or the rest, if it's figured out fairly early on that it's going to require like multiple calls or like maybe a project, then it turns into more of a scoping call. That's what I understand.
I think the space needs all of these different business models, right? I think there's an opportunity. It's not just the product that you sell, but it's actually how you sell the product, or not just the service, but it might look like a similar hammer, but it's a slightly different. It's a more of a rubber mallet than it is a big 5 pound hammer kind of thing, right? So depending on the use case, I multitask. I have three screens open, having to focus. Like it slows me down, having to wait for all of the things. It doesn't appeal to me as a tool. Maybe I am a bit more of a hammer than a mallet. But
So I found it really difficult because if they don't give a lot of information before the call, you need to understand the challenge. Then you really need to know the tool and the API. For me, it was in Make. And then usually you just try out stuff, you do a bunch of GET requests, see what comes in, and it's really difficult, I feel like. And sometimes they're really weird questions, and you spend 20 minutes like looking into documentations, and then the answer is no, it cannot be done.
How did you find sort of like the customer experience of it? Did you sort of find, I don't know, those people that do participate in the build as a service, are they more likely to sort of go ahead with a project or buy another session, or were they
So,
enjoying themselves, or was it a waste of time?
so I feel like in the first few calls, I tried to follow their lead. They said, I have this project problem, I approached it this way. Whereas after the first few calls, I switched and just asked a bunch of questions, and then basically tried to tell them, hey, let's end it here. I will give you the solution afterwards, to have a 20-minute call, and then I have 40 minutes of my own building time, which is better used than being together.
if they're interested in only the solution, then that's the wrong tool for them, right? But if it's them growing in terms of the ability to build things like this or maintain it, then your process of going through things, they'll find value. But the amount of times where I spent 2 hours troubleshooting something where it's a full stop or a comma somewhere that's wrong, right? I would be pretty annoyed if I was looking for the solution and this consultant just charged me 2 hours for looking for a full stop or something. Whereas if he doesn't see that's what I'm actually doing, then they don't. But if the client's interested in the process and he sees how you go about finding that issue, right, then he's learning and he's getting value from it. So he's not only paying for the end product, he's actually paying for observing you. If you're looking to see and see how I do and learn from what I do, then this is the right tool for you, and this is a good approach for us to follow.
That's a nice heuristic. Yeah, I can see that making sense.